Many people think that living a rich life means being able to spend as much of your money as you want, whenever you want, on anything that you want. And maybe that's part of it. But a truly rich life is so much more than that, and actually easier to acquire. Let's discuss. The great thinker Seneca said, "It's not the man that has many possessions, but the man who craves more that is actually poor." What did he mean by that? See, today in our society, we have this insatiable appetite for both wealth and validation. We get that, of course, by going out into the world and spending our hard-earned money. And today, especially the younger people have coined this phrase, well, I'm just living my rich life. I'm out there living my rich life. That's what I want to be able to do. At no time in history has this been more obvious that we want to be out there living our rich life. But the problem with just acquiring stuff and spending money as fast as it comes in is it can really leave you feeling perpetually poor. Because all you're doing is comparing yourself to everyone else out there, quote unquote, living their rich life. And of course, it's all out there for the world to see because we need that validation, right? With more money floating around out there, we also get used to spending higher amounts. I mean, when I was a kid, we would go food shopping, my family of 5, right? My parents would take us kids and then be pushing the cart around, and we'd finally get up front with a cart just brimming, right, with food over the top of the damn cart. And we were a family of 5, me, my 2 parents, my 2 sisters, and I would watch them scanning the groceries. And, oh, it's $50, oh, it's $65, oh, it's $90. If we broke 100, it was like a really big deal. And I just couldn't believe it. My dad would open up his wallet and just pay the $105 in cash, and off we'd go home with our goodies. And, of course, a few things that I've snuck into the cart for myself. But the point is $100 would feed a family of 5. And it was, kind of a big deal to even break $100 and spend that kind of money. Today, we've gotten so used to high numbers and spending high numbers with inflation that you might take a $100 bill and put it in your wallet or stick it in your purse, and maybe 2 days goes by and you don't really know where it went. Where did that $100 disappear to? Maybe you bought some gas, maybe you got a cup of coffee, maybe you got a meal or two, but literally the $100 evaporated. And we're just so used to that. It's okay, right? Well, we make more money, so we're going to spend more money, and I want to live my rich life. So, of course, you end up trading in that Honda Civic that served you so well for the BMW with a payment, of course. That leather belt you wore right up through college is no good, and you need the one that says Versace now. Of course, your sunglasses have to say Dolce & Gabbana or Ray-Ban, for the fear that someone might see them. And every barista in town seems to know your name, right? You're on a first name basis because you're in there spending a ton of money on overpriced coffees, but you're living your rich life. And of course, all of this is being done and broadcast in real time, high definition, color corrected, enhanced display with human feedback watching everything we do and kicking in a comment about our rich life. When I see someone living this quote-unquote rich life, I travel around a lot, and mostly I work out at home. I have a little gym at home and I work out there. But if I'm in a hotel or traveling around the world, I may use the gym's hotel, or I may use another gym. And, a lot of times now you'll be sitting there on the treadmill and you'll see someone pull up in their supercar, always trying to, vying for that space right up in front where someone's going to see their ride. And they'll get out and walk in wearing the biggest, thickest gold chain you've ever seen. To me, it's the equivalent of a Rottweiler, walking in wearing a T-bone steak around his neck. In other words, it's the ultimate look at me, look at what I can have, look at what I can do. What I'm really looking at is either someone who's suffering from fake it till you make it syndrome, and they're really all about the show, or they're suffering from low self-esteem, meaning they need that validation. If they're not getting that validation, They don't really feel good about themselves. They don't just feel good. They need that outside thing that they can acquire to show the world that they are living their rich life. What's amazing is that at the same time in history as there's so much money floating around and everyone is spending it and seeming to flaunt it to get this validation, which doesn't really make you feel good at the end of the day because you need to keep doing it. But at the same time, we have statistics showing us that there is record high depression, record high therapy, and medication being prescribed to people to deal with all these issues. In other words, we are not really happy. If we roll the clock back just 10, 15 years ago, the stats showed that maybe there was 18% of society that was seeking therapy for anger, depression, suicidal thoughts, or feeling like they just needed to be medicated to sort of level out and deal. Today, those stats are almost up to 30%. I mean, really, can it be 3 out of every 10 people absolutely feel that bad about themselves where they are depressed or seeking therapy or need to be medicated to feel good, like they can simply get through a day? I'm not saying this to, bag or criticize therapy. There are people that absolutely need it. I'm just saying the statistics are going in the wrong direction, and they're going in the wrong direction starting earlier too. More kids are seeking therapy for depression. What do the wealthy seem to know about this rich life that the rest of us are really missing? Well, for starters, if you're truly wealthy, if you're truly living a rich life, you know it's not about a dollar amount. It's not about showing off. In other words, the truly wealthy person doesn't have to prove that they have money. They don't have to prove that they're doing well to the world. They're doing well, and they're just doing well for themselves. In other words, they're truly satisfied with who they are. Truly feeling good is not about going out into the world and what the world might see when they look at you. It's more about what you see when you look at yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? Do you feel good? If you don't feel good and you tell yourself, well, I have to go out and spend money to keep up with the Joneses to feel good, that's not truly living a rich life. See, living a truly rich life may have something to do with having a little bit of money, but it has more to do with your time and what you do with that time and how that makes you feel. I grew up not poor, but very much middle class, and maybe even at times below middle class. But when I started to have a little money and I started to see what I call real wealth, maybe some of my investments started to pay off, it became for me more about time. That was the status I was looking for, having the time to do what I want. I was living in LA, and I remember I was at this seminar and someone gave me a Rolex watch. I mean, just gifted it to me, right? They said, "Oh, you've impressed me so much, and your book and everything was great." And they were, just some super nice rich person. And they literally gave me this Rolex right off of their wrist. "I want you to have this." And they gave me the watch. I said thank you, of course, and that they didn't have to do that. And I thought it was just, a wonderful gesture. And for a long time, I kept it because it was more about the symbolism of it. I don't even wear a watch. As you can see, I almost never wear a watch. Eventually, I gave the watch away. I gave it away just like he gave it to me. I gave it to someone else that I thought was on the path of righteousness, on the right side of money. And I gave it away. And everyone's like, "You gave away, a Rolex." I said, "Yeah, because that wasn't any sort of a symbol for me. I mean, that would be a symbol for the world. It wouldn't be for me. It would be because the world gets to see that Daniel's wearing a Rolex." And the truth of the matter is I do have a couple of watches, and I almost never wear them. I'll tell you when I wear a watch. I wear a watch if I'm going out to a business meeting or maybe a dinner, and where I feel like it would be rude to have my phone on or look at my phone during dinner. I might wear a watch because I may want to look at the time. Other than that, I wouldn't wear a watch. The thing is that my watch is probably, it's a Seiko. That's what it is. It's a Seiko, right? I have a couple of watches and they're Seikos. And they also were both gifts. And I kept them because I may use them, but I almost never wear a watch. I don't need all the symbols. I don't need all of those things. I don't have to flex, that I have these rich people things. A truly rich life is about my perfect day. It's about what do I do with my time? Once I had a little bit of money coming in and had some passive income, then it became a thing for me to look at my day and start to write down like, okay, what does a great day for Daniel look like? Well, I like to wake up at a certain time, which is not early, mind you. I like to start out my day by going for a run. I like to come back and enjoy my first cup of coffee. I never answer my phone before 10 a.m. It might not even be on. Then I think about getting into my day, whether I have to get to one of my businesses or get into the shop or have a meeting or take calls. My day is just planned out the way I want it. That is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself if you're truly living a rich life, is what you're doing with your time. There is the money part of it, but if you ask anyone who's really wealthy and living a rich life, they spend more time planning on what they're going to do with their wealth after they're gone. Are they going to donate to charities? Are they going to give it away? Are they going to maybe build houses for the needy or maybe their own children, right? Are they going to grow their businesses and maybe hand that off? True wealth is always about what you're really going to do with it. And it usually doesn't involve yourself. It's not what I'm going to do with it for me. The money's already been decided upon by a trust that I'm trusting will do the right things with my money. So I want to live a really good life, but a truly rich life is more about your time and what you do with it. So if you have a nice income, if you have a good income, if you're making some money, and I hope you are, and you're doing the right things with it, then realize that your job is just to be a wise steward of that money, to spend it wisely and not spend it according to what anyone else thinks, wants, or may view you as because you've spent that money. Many times the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. And the wealth are really going about being wealthy with a sort of quiet confidence. They just get it done. When someone asks, who are you? I say, I'm the guy who gets it done, right? I'm doing the right things, hopefully, and I'm doing the right things by me, but also right things for my future and the future of people to come. So I like to start every day by being grateful for what I've already attained and what I already have, but I set my goals big enough that I know I'm going to keep growing just a little bit every single day. My name is Daniel F. Margasa. You are watching The Almost Criminal Millionaire, and I want you to live your rich life as well. And if you enjoy the topic of money, finance, and the health and wealth of your bank account, then please like and subscribe for more.